going to look at the market analysis. We're looking at the shilling, whereby the shilling held steady on Thursday, ending the session at 83.1790 to the dollar, barely changed from Monday's close of 83.8090. And today the shilling opened at 83.7090, flat from Tuesday's close. Looking at the NSC at the Nairobi Securities Exchange, we saw the main share index inch up 0.4% to close the session at 4765.32 points on Tuesday. And looking at the all share index, on the other hand, it edged up 0.6% to finish the day at 118.07 points. To have a closer look at the numbers, we are now joined by Kuria Kamau, a research analyst with Kestrel Capital. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, now yesterday we saw the president announcing a 14% increase on minimum wage, and I'm sure that is bound to have an effect on some of the companies that do employ casuals. What is your reaction to that, especially looking at bottom lines for companies that are listed like in the manufacturing sector, and we also have the services sector?
I think it's a positive thing to see that the new president is increasing wages. He's on his first Labor Day. I guess for the lowest income level, increased it by 14%. So that's good news. Whether it'll have an effect on our companies, I don't think the effect will be significant. Largely due to the fact that most of these companies already pay their employees above the minimum wage level. So I don't think the effect will be there for listed companies. Probably for the mid-sized companies and the smaller companies, that's where we'll see the biggest effect, but not for the listed companies.
So we're not likely to see operational costs rising due to this effect?
We might see some rises, but they won't be significant.
All right. Crossing over, we're going to look at at NAC Bank, which announced their first quarter results on Tuesday, and the market was closed yesterday. So of course, we never got to see a reaction of the stock. Looking at that stock, how do you think it's going to perform today?
I guess the performance of NAC Bank reflects the performance we expect from the banking industry. Already we've seen housing finance release earnings, and they're pretty much the same story with NAC Bank. What we are seeing is interest income remaining the same level or increasing slightly, but then the cost of funds is actually coming down. So what we're seeing is an increase in the spread, the difference between the average yield that they receive on bonds and on loans, and a decline in cost of funds, and that spread is increasing. And based on that, we expect banks largely to perform better. The loan book won't grow as fast as it did in the second half of last year. But first quarter, largely due to election risk and all of that, but the larger spreads will lead to an increase in net interest income.
And of course, we've seen quarter one results were not so good compared to the previous year, whereby we saw only a 20% increase in quarter one as opposed to a 29% increase in the previous year. Is that something that you're likely to see cutting across the banks, taking a cue from NAC Bank results?
I guess we should expect. I believe the net interest income across the industry will be better, not on loan book growth, but more on increase in spreads. The best bank, I think, that will benefit from that is Equity Bank. They're the masters of maintaining their cost of funds at as low as possible, and I think they'll be a major beneficiary of that. So that will be my top pick in that sector.
Mm-hmm. Looking at that, banks, we saw Diamond Trust Bank, which was one of the top gainers on Tuesday. Then on the other hand, looking at Kenya Commercial Bank, which is the country's biggest in terms of assets, we saw a lot of foreigners who are leaving that counter. Maybe you can take us through those two banks.
Equity Bank, first let me start with KCB Bank. KCB Bank was largely traded by locals. Foreigners, I guess, were out of the market on that counter. So what we saw is locals picking up the stock ahead of the earnings. I guess locals are starting to. We've seen the trend from housing finance. You expect higher net interest income. So that's just a cue. It was a cue for local people to start picking up on KCB, and also Equity Bank, which I say is our top pick in the banking sector, is reflective of that.
Looking at Jubilee, which also announced their results fully on Tuesday, how do you see that stock performing today?
I think the stock generally will go up. The results were okay. They didn't impress us as much in the insurance business. what we saw is insurance, the insurance business and the company around 200 million if you take away the net benefits that they actually paid on the premiums they received. And what the amount of money, the money they made on their investment income was around 3.5 billion. So they're making a lot more money in investment income than in the insurance business.
Do you think the 260 shilling per share is overvalued, fairly valued, or how would you place it?
It's trading at a price to earnings following the release of earnings of 7.2%, which is very low looking at the market, which is around 14. And then also price to book of 1.9 has an attractive ROE of 26%. So I think among all the insurance companies, it looks expensive, but in terms of the market in general, it looks a very good entry point for the stock. All
right, a very quick one on Safaricom, which is announcing the result, very quick one because we're running out of time.
Yeah.
How do you see the stock performing today?
Safaricom, I still think there's a lot of interest, there's a lot of potential for the stock. We expect earnings to increase by 28%. The latest statistics from CCK showed that they actually performed, market share is increasing, so we expect good earnings from that end. Therefore, we expect the stock to keep rising.